Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
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 Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana
Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana
Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
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 Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana
Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajadana Rangana
Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jai Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jai Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Ki Prajgachata Stotra Satta Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Hirabai Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Skandabhiti Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtana Ki Antarashman Bhagavatam Ki Dani Tagore Pimanande all glorious to be some of the devotees, all glorious to be some of the devotees, all glorious to be some of the devotees, all glorious to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glorious to Sri Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyanandanam Sanatayam Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Paramayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vikam Tam Sajivam Sabudhuitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Sakanitangsya Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripasindhubhayeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Narayanam Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and the loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs have become established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Namaha Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shloke Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyaya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God, It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya,
Krishna Chaitanya,
Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Saradhyay Namaha. Om Saradhyay Namaha. Om Saradhyay Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Dadami Buddhi Yogantam.
Tadami Buddhi Yogantam.
Yes, Krishna gives it for So, welcome to our small assembly.
Narada Muni is here.
Yes, yes. So many sages we cannot see.
Sages,
So, sorry I could not meet you yesterday at the program. I had this. There's devotee. There's devotee, Janmastami, who was sitting with me.
Yeah, I saw him.
Okay. I mean, you know him a little bit?
A little bit. Not so much.
Right. Now, he was in the very beginning, before Mayapur Institute. He helped to establish it many years ago. He's like. Very much into education. Yeah. And next month, by the end of July, there is ISKCON every year actually commemorates Srila Prabhupada's incorporation of ISKCON, establishing ISKCON, and also Prabhupada's arrival in America. So they have some sadhu sangha and they discuss. So this year they will be focusing on the 7 purposes of ISKCON, Prabhupada's 7 purposes of ISKCON. So, yeah, I think it's maybe 27th of July. I think, yeah, inviting different devotees, anyone I think can attend. Okay, we are continuing here, Canto number 1, chapter 7, the son of Drona punished, and today looking at text number, okay.
2 texts.
Correct, 53 and 54. Today is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, will be speaking. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Brahma
Brahma
Bandhur
Bhaktu
Na
Na
Hantavya
Hantadya
Atatayi
Tatpatai
Vidharhanaha
Vadahanaha
Mayaevo Bhayam
Mayaivo Bhayam
Amnatam
Amnatam
Paripahi
Paripahi
Anushasanam
Anushasanam
Kuru
Guru
Pratisrutam
Ratishrutam
Satyam
Satyam
Yat
Yat
Tat
Tat
Santvayata
Santvayata
Priyam
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 Cha
Cha
Bhimasenasya
Bhimasenasya
Panchalya
Panchaya
Mayam
Mayam
Eva
Eva
Cha
Cha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Brahma Bandhu Nahantavya
Tatayi Vidharhanaha
Atatai Vadarpanam
Maya Vo Bhayam Amnatam
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnatam
Paripayanushasanam
Paripahyanushasanam
Guru Pratisrutam Satyam
Guru Pratishrutam Satyam
Yat Tat Santvayata Priyam
Yat Tat Santvayata Priyam
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Panchalya Mahyam Eva Cha
Panchaya Mayameva Cha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Tatayi Vidharhanaha
Atatai Vadarpanam
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnatam
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnatam
Paripayanushasanam
Paripahyanushasanam
Guru Pratisrutam Satyam
Guru Pratishrutam Satyam
Yat Tat Santvayata Priyam
Yat Tat Santvayata Priyam
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Panchalya Mayam Eva Cha
Panchaya Mahyameva Cha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Atatayi Vadharhanaha
Atatai Vadarhanam
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnatam
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnatam
Paripayanushasanam
Paripahyanushasanam
Guru Pratisrutam Satyam
Guru Pratishrutam Satyam
Yat Tat Santvayata Priyam
Yattat Santavyata Priyam
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Panchalya Mahyam Eva Cha
Panchaya Mayameva Cha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Brahma Bandhur Nahantavya
Atatai Vadarhanam
Atatayi Vadharhanaha
Mayaivo Bhayam Amnaya
Mayaivo Bhayam Annatam
Paripahyanushasanam
Paripayanushasanam
Guru Pratishrutam Satyam
Guru Pratisrutam Satyam
Yattat Santvayata Priyam
Yat Tat Sanvayata Priyam
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Priyam Cha Bhimasenasya
Panchaya Mahyameva Cha
Vanchalya Mayam Eva Cha Sri Bhagavan
Ki Bhagavan,
the personality of Godhead,
Ki personality of Godhead,
Uvacha,
Uvacha,
said,
said,
Brahmabandhu,
Brahmabandhu,
the relative of a Brahmana,
the relative of a Brahmana,
na,
no,
not
not
hantavyaha,
Antavyaha,
to be killed,
to be killed.
atatayi,
Atatai,
the aggressor,
the aggressor,
vadha arhanaha,
Vada Ahana,
is due to be killed,
is due to be killed.
maya,
Maya,
by me,
by me,
eva,
Eva,
certainly,
certainly,
ubhayam,
Upayam,
both,
both,
amnatam,
Amnatam,
described according
described according
to rulings of the authority,
to rulings of the authority.
paripahi,
Paripahi,
carry out,
carry out,
anushasanam,
Anushasana,
rulings,
rulings,
kuru,
Kuru,
abide by,
by
pratisrutam,
Pratishrutam,
as promised by,
as promised by
satyam,
Satyam,
truth,
truth,
yet tat,
yet
that which,
that which
santvayata,
Santvayata,
while pacifying,
by pacifying,
priyam,
Priyam,
dear wife,
dear wife,
priyam,
Priyam,
satisfaction,
satisfaction,
cha,
Cha,
also,
also,
bhimasenasya,
Bhimasenasya,
of Sri Bhimasena,
of Shri Bhimasena,
panchalyaha,
Panchayaha,
of Draupadi,
of Draupadi,
mahyam,
Mayam,
unto me also,
unto me also,
eva,
Eva,
certainly,
certainly,
cha,
Cha,
and translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The personality of Godhead, as Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to the satisfaction of Bhimasena and me. Kind of repeat after me. The personality of Godhead,
the personality of Godhead,
Sri Krishna said,
Shri Krishna said,
a friend of a Brahmana
the friend of the Brahmana
is not to be killed,
not to be killed,
but if he is aggressor,
but if he is an aggressor,
he must be killed.
he must be killed.
All these rulings
All these rulings
are in the scriptures,
are in the scriptures,
and you should act accordingly.
and you should act accordingly.
You have to fulfill
You have to fulfill
your promise to your wife,
your promise to your wife,
and you must also act
and you must also act
to the satisfaction
to the satisfaction
of Bhimasena and me.
of Bhimasena and me.
Purport. Arjuna was perplexed because Ashvatthama was to be killed as well as spared according to different scriptures cited by different persons. As a Brahmabandhu, or a worthless son of a Brahmana, Ashvatthama was not to be killed, but he was at the same time an aggressor also. And according to the rulings of Manu, an aggressor, even though he be a Brahmana, and what to speak of an unworthy son of a Brahmana, is to be killed. Dronacharya was certainly a Brahmana in the true sense of the term, but because he stood in the battlefield, he was killed. But although Ashvatthama was an aggressor, he stood without any fighting weapons. The ruling is that an aggressor, when he is without weapon or chariot, cannot be killed. All these were certainly perplexities. Besides that, Arjuna had to keep the promise he had made before Draupadi, just to pacify her. And he also had to satisfy both Bhima and Krishna, who advised killing him. this dilemma was present before Arjuna, and the solution was awarded by Krishna. Translation. Again, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, said, "A friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures, and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to the satisfaction of Bhimasena and me." So, as Prabhupada is pointing out, Arjuna was in the dilemma. He was well versed in the knowledge of Dharma, and even persons who are understanding the principles of Dharma will sometimes be faced with difficult situations, and we see this occurring at many times, and of course ultimately by proper deliberation, by proper deep thinking on the subject matter, some solution is there, some solution is arrived at, as will be seen in this particular example. And that is why we see how in the Vedic culture the knowledge, the understanding, the training from very early life, the training that one is meant to receive based on the principles of Dharma is absolutely essential. That even those who are knowledgeable of Dharma will sometimes have difficult situations, or will not be immediately able to understand what is the actual solution or what is the proper decision that needs to be taken. So what to speak of people who don't know about Dharma, which is the vast majority of people in the world today, especially this most important instruction given by Rishabhadev, one of the Kshatriyas, who happens to be, as we know, the father of Bharat, who became Bharat Maharaj. So Rishabhadev, that's one of the nice pastimes and instructions in the Bhagavatam. He had 100 sons, and he was very well versed in the principles of Dharma, and he instructed that na guru na sasyat, na pita na sasyat, that particular verse. One should not become a guru, one should not become a father, one should not become a leader in society unless one is able to deliver one's dependence from the clutches of the material world, unless one is able to teach one's dependence these principles of Dharma. So that is why Vedic culture is very unique in that it is fully centered on Dharma. Krishna comes in the material world actually to re-establish these principles of Dharma when they are no longer followed in due course of time. This happens, and Dharma samstapanarthaya, and this is something also that, well, all of our acharyas, they focus on explaining these principles of Dharma, and that's what especially traditional education is based upon. It's based on very deeply embedded principles of Dharma that are given, of course, in the Shastra, but that can only be more easily, I would say, understood or realized when we begin to follow those principles, when we live a lifestyle which is more easily facilitating that we can understand these principles of Dharma. So, yeah, Narada Muni also stresses this point that this is meant to be the primary responsibility, especially of Brahmanas. Not only Brahmanas, actually, he mentions Smritam cha tadvidam rajan yena chatma prasiditi, that those who are devotees, anyone who is a devotee, that means it's the responsibility of all members within society, especially those who are taking up the philosophy, who are accepting the philosophy of Vaishnav principles. Vaishnav life is based on these principles of Dharma. So it means that even in a society, 5,000 years ago, when this pastime took place, Vedic culture was well established, well known. So even when we have very qualified individuals, there are dilemmas that sometimes arise, as in this particular case here. Of course, as Prabhupada ends the purport here, Krishna is giving, or will be giving, the hint to Arjuna how to resolve this dilemma. So that means that was, and that still is, that still remains one of the fundamental objectives of our society, to actually facilitate individuals who will especially be able to deeply study Srimad. That's part of the 7 purposes that Prabhupada formulated for the society. I think in the first one, the first of the 7 purposes, to systematically introduce and teach the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, especially based on the standard knowledge that we find in books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. very close to the end of this chapter actually. And unless you have some point to make, we can continue.
It is the last sentence of Srila Prabhupada, which are seemingly not explained by him. Most of the other explanations are Prabhupada explained like giving the sentence, and then he proved it by quoting different principles or shastras, but the last one is not.
The last
Sentence
of
of
the purport.
Prabhupada in the purport. It looks like could be that the next verse would be the solution or the key element, but it is like we are speaking about different very advanced persons, and when the very advanced persons are not agree in some big issue,
Right.
because it's a question of how to maintain the dharma for the not just one's decision, particularly who will know Ashwatthama was killed or not in this situation. There are no, in the mid of the big assembly. They are practically almost privately decide, but they are persons who know that this would be historical decision.
Right.
So they are advanced in knowledge and experience, and they have different requests for the person who will, and they accept that. That person will decide and we will accept. Looks like all in the past. They will not complain.
Right.
They thought something, it was not a good solution, but still they followed. They didn't rebel in the past. So it's also, we can accept that Krishna is present in form present, so it looks like seriously present, not just
Right.
jokingly like a friend.
Right.
So that Krishna will accept Arjun's any decision.
Right.
But also there is something which Krishna, as before, hint, which Prabhupada sees, already sees, but don't explains. Like before, not shortly before, when Bhima had to win over Duryodhana,
Right.
Krishna showed one sign. If Bhima is clever enough, he will understand.
Right.
It was his special mercy, special message. So the main point is how we understand this special mercy of Krishna when he gives a hint in our life and not mimics, not mistakenly take from the mind. Because you told that people nowadays have difficulties because they don't follow the Dharma. They
Yes.
don't know the Dharma. But my friend told, okay, maybe I don't know the Dharma, but I ask my heart. And my heart will answer something. I follow that that's coming from God. And it's hard to say no.
Well, that's where the that's where the necessity of deeply understanding and knowing dharma, because a right decision is not simply what my heart tells me. As we understand when reading Bhagavad Gita, for example, our mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy. And most of the time it's our worst enemy because our mind is on the bodily platform and not properly directed by the intelligence. And of course, there's material intelligence and then there's spiritual intelligence. And yes, this is a modern kind of understanding or philosophy which is very prevalent in modern day society, that and it has very serious I would would say, consequences which are leading us very much away from the principles of dharma. You know, people will say, if you're okay with something, if I'm okay with something, then we can do it, isn't it? And you take this kind of philosophy, you know, I think somebody wrote a book, you're okay, I'm okay. So this is goes against the fundamental principle that is there in the Bhagavad Gita, pravritimcha, nivritimcha, janana vidur asura. So Shastra, because it's very easy, in many ways it's more convenient to follow this kind of philosophy. There's nothing really bad if my heart tells me it's okay. And if I do something with someone else, if he's also okay with it, then what's the problem? But this is not in keeping with not just a question of not following Shastra, but it's not helping individuals actually attain the real goal of life, which most people are not even aware of course. Yeah. So, so yes, Krishna, ultimately, who is within the heart of all living entities, of course, in this case, he's right physically or spiritually, both, present, and he knows the heart of his devotee, Arjuna, because they have that very close relationship, and he trusts that Arjuna will be able to make the proper decision, which is very difficult. Ordinary person would not be able to make the kind of decision that Arjuna, of course, is making.
And also he knows more informations.
Krishna.
Like cultural informations.
Yes.
That what does it mean taking the head of
Yeah, correct.
a person in different culture would be different things. So in that Vedic culture, there are a parallel solution for that. That's equal to that, and A equal to B equal to C, that A equal to C.
Yes.
So he knows more.
Yes.
He is good to know to Bhima's logic, or what would Bhima accept, what would Draupadi, and he's saying here, at least, Arjun, there is a solution.
Right.
So it's not like you have to give up. I know some special solution would really satisfy Bhima, did it satisfy Draupadi,
Yes.
and me.
And me. Okay. Good.
And maybe how he's using the Sanskrit words, because Sanskrit could be
Correct.
put in different ways.
meanings.
So how he is expertly using the words one after another. First statement, okay, the Brahmana, son of Brahmana should protect him, but, and then he puts the next
Yes.
sentence, but how he put it in line, that's also have other information, because he could put in a different
Order.
order.
Correct.
So
Yes.
that's very subtle, which we can understand only when we see the freedom of Sanskrit language, or the
Yes.
Sanskrit rules, regulations. And what does it mean if they change subject, object? They explain first, and they're using the words, special words, cha, for example,
Correct.
yat, tat. These
Yes.
are very special
Yes.
used
Yes.
part of the Sanskrit language,
Yes.
which can overrule.
Correct. Yeah. Our acharyas point out these things actually, which are much less present in other languages, and they are especially, we see in some of the literatures of our Goswamis when they describe the exchanges between Radha and Krishna,
Hmm.
a play on words, for example, and as you rightly point out, the that's why there's an intimate connection actually between the Sanskrit language, which is most advanced and most scientific language, and also Vedic culture, which is the most advanced and most scientific culture as well, and difficult for us to kind of appreciate or understand because we've not been exposed to that. There's only, I came to know some time back how among the over 600,000 villages in India, there's only 5 or 7 villages. It might be increasing now because there's an interest. There's only 5 or 7 villages existing where all the members, all the residents of that village speak Sanskrit. It's kind of interesting. In previous times, that was the standard. Of course, there are different levels of Sanskrit. There's like the ordinary. But what is being introduced today, actually, since a number of years, they call conversational Sanskrit. It's like they have classes. One can learn conversational English. I was teaching in the early days here in Mayapur. Conversational means ordinary, simple, more simple kind of. So, yes, that's in many ways one of different reasons why for ordinary people especially, and even for devotees, it's not immediately obvious. Even we may read it, just like the whole topic of education or the whole topic of economy, which are Vedic sciences, they're just not immediately obvious. They're not easy to understand unless we visit a place like Vrindavan, live in a village similar to what Krishna was living in. Then, only then we can begin to understand. Just like ordinary people cannot have a hard time relating to devotees. How their lifestyle. Why in the world? Why in the world do people get up at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning? Ordinary. For us, anyone who's been living this lifestyle for many years, it's like we take it like as normal, and it's not. It's less and less a problem to get up that early, but for ordinary people, it's like unthinkable. Yeah. So that whole culture, Vedic culture, is displayed, of course, in these types of.
Whereas I have another question that I'm studying, not so deeply, but at least I try to become a knower of the drama literature. So, and I can see that that's also a dramatic scene which we can play for different purpose. And here, if you see the whole Bhagavatam is like one great drama.
Yes.
That's the first scene. And we see some actions. A drama, one person auto comes in and hello, Haribol. I hope everyone is
Correct.
happily waiting for what we will speak. The topic would be like that. And then he invite the first actors. Mostly the first actor should be the main actor also, or in some introductory speech. So here Krishna, who is we know theoretically, the main actor, his first action. It is at first scene, he is present with his friends, with his relatives, and he plays double role. One is the friendship or the servant of my friends, another is the supreme person. So immediately in the first scene, we see that drama would be really complex because the main actor comes like a 100 years old friend, and immediately he is the supreme person because have 4 arms generally don't have anyone other 4 arms, and their topic is decision of the dharma.
Yes.
And also in this dharma are really interview with personal relationships,
Yes. Yes.
like priya.
Yes.
He is using his first sentence using the priya 2 times.
Correct.
So very important for him.
Yes.
So maybe that first act is preparing us to receive this kind of all this information, which is old Bhagavatam about the relationships.
Yes.
How important the relationships. Dharma is important.
Right.
Maybe the relationships more important.
Yes. Yeah. The subject matter of relationships, because and relationships need to be are directly connected with dharma as well. So it's like Krishna has a very close relationship that he needs to maintain with Draupadi, his wife, and he also has a close relationship with Bhima, who's his brother, older brother at that as well, and of course he has a relationship with Krishna. So yes, that that's a very essential, very prominent, critical aspect in the Vedic culture. We were reading the other day, one of the texts that we were studying was explaining how most important in the Vedic culture to avoid causing pain or causing suffering or causing any kind of inconvenience, even inconvenience to all living entities, actually, not only to human beings, and just like who was the carrier, Bharat Maharaj had become Zara and he was extremely conscious of that, of not stepping on ants by carrying the. So I mean, to that extent, especially amongst relations between human beings, is even more subtle, more sensitive, more complex, and that's of course one of the reasons, I would say the foremost reason, why this aspect that you're mentioning in terms of relationship is so important, is that ultimately it's meant to reflect and is connected with ultimately re-establishing our relationship with Krishna, isn't it? I mean, how we interact with ourselves, amongst ourselves, with other living entities, etc., will reflect ultimately how we can let's say react or interact rather with Krishna.
Yeah, I see that here also could be a relationship between the ultimate message of the Bhagavatam means Krishna have very deep relationship with his most beloved person, but still he is ready to leave them for another Priya, for his parents, to save them. So here I think Krishna start to show through the Arjuna's situation that for him is the life is not so simple, not so easy as oh he God, he can do whatever he wants.
Right.
He can, but every act would affect different beloved persons around him, and
Yes.
he has many
Right.
prayers. So if we are partial for one, the other one would be feel him as the pain.
Right.
So acting in a word impartial and still full